Our first story today is gaming related from Eurogamer.net. It reads, Microsoft to sell Xbox One without Kinect for £349. Now, if you don't know the conversion rate between pounds and US dollars, that means that Microsoft is going to start selling the Xbox One without the Kinect for $399. Now, that's $100 cheaper than it is with the Kinect. The big question though, is this going to be a good or bad move for Microsoft? In some ways, having people required to have the Kinect means that they get to uniformly create new features for the Kinect and more abilities for the Kinect as well, to do stuff like controlling your TV, controlling games, because they know you have the Kinect. Me personally, I thought the Kinect was a great idea because it has this uniformity, like I said before, allowing game makers to be more interested in making Kinect-based games. Fortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case, as a lot of people have been screaming and yelling for them to sell it without the Kinect. So now we finally have that. It is available for pre-order right now and will start shipping in June. Along with that, we also got the announcement for the Games for Gold moving over to the Xbox One. Now, I'm not sure about the first game that it is offering, but I do know that the second game that they're going to offer throughout the month of June, from the 15th through the 30th, is they're going to offer Xbox's Halo Spartan Assault. Now, that is a very popular Halo game. It's actually a marketplace game. Should be interesting for people to start picking up. So look out for that for the Xbox soon. And if you were on the edge of getting an Xbox One but you didn't want the Kinect, now is the time to order. In other Xbox news today, Microsoft also announced that the Gold requirement, that's their subscription service, is not going to be a requirement to be able to run Netflix and Hulu anymore. That update patch is going to be coming down the pike very shortly, and that's going to be both for the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. Netflix, tons of people like it, but how fast is it in the US as compared to other countries? That is what Vice had ventured to find out. And the answer to that question is that the US isn't the fastest to be streaming the Netflix service. In fact, the better streaming option is actually to move to Canada. Their studies have shown that those who stream within the US get an average of 2.33 megabits per second of streaming, while those in Canada averaged 2.52. It means that they get a little bit more streaming power out of that, and that means they can stream more HD movies, more Ultra HD movies, other than us, which can stream still HD movies, but at a slightly slower speed. And it all comes back to net neutrality. It all comes back to the ISPs creating these artificial limits to their networks because they're constantly fighting with people. And I'm not going to go too far into it because it's a story that we just keep hearing over and over and over again. So I'm not going to bore you too much with the subject. A big announcement came out yesterday, but it happened after we had recorded yesterday's TLD, so we're going to fit it in today. And this is coming from TechCrunch, which reads, Motorola ups the budget Android ante with $130 Moto E and an LTE Moto G. Just when you think that cell phones from Motorola couldn't get cheap enough, because the Moto G was pretty cheap. We even reviewed it on this channel saying it was the best cheap phone to get. They have upped themselves by making a $139 phone that is even more basic, even cheaper on the parts, but is targeting that market of entry-level smartphone users. This is, I believe, the right way for Motorola to be running their business, because a lot of their consumers getting Android devices are usually going to be those first timers, and having a nice, cheap cell phone that people can buy is the perfect way to get people to join. They are also upping the Moto G with LTE support now, which didn't come out when we first had the device. It was only 3G capable. So now new devices from the Moto G will be available in LTE, and now the Moto E will be the even cheaper best Android phone. In keeping with companies buying other companies, we have this article from Bloomberg, which reads, AT&T in talks to buy DirecTV for about $50 billion. That's 50 billion, yes, billion with a B, dollars. That's a lot of money. And I think we're going to run into the same issue that we have with Comcast and Time Warner Cable right now, is that these are two big market players. And if they are to combine into one, that would mean even more market share for them. So this is going to be another one of those, are we going to let it pass or not? Personally, I'm not so sure it's going to pass. I know that they want to buy them for $50 billion. They have not accepted it yet, nor has the paperwork been filed with the FCC to have them approve this transaction. So we'll have to follow this story and see. But, you know, AT&T buying DirecTV, not so sure about that one. Our last story today comes out of Europe with the titled article from The Telegraph stating Google must delete your data if a EU rule goes through. And it looks very likely that this rule is going through. This is basically the unseen rule, meaning you can request for Google to remove all of your information, all of the search terms about you, basically leaving a blank slate for you. This can happen for anybody. So if I were to be, you know, a very bad person online, ruining my personal reputation, and I were to want it all gone, and if I lived in the US, I can go to Google now and say, hey, I want my data gone, and they have to do it. This new EU rule claims. Now this is going to be a similar fashion for something what happened in France, where France had a lawsuit against Google saying, because they are listing search results for news agencies, they must pay them money for listing those results. And you're kind of like, WTF, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense at all. It's a search engine giving search results. Why would you have to pay somebody to list their search results? Nobody knows. But we'll have to see how Google handles this review, because there's not just Google out there. There's Google, there's Bing, there's other popular search engines out there, yet they're targeting just Google. We'll have to see how this works out. I'm very interested to see how the EU is going to handle this with even more search engines out there, because Google isn't the only search engine out there, even though it's one of the most popular. So we'll have to see about that. And that does it for the news stories today. We round off with our big question of the day, which is, did the Kinect hinder the Xbox One? Did the requirement of the Xbox One to come with a Kinect hinder it all, maybe compared to the PlayStation 4, which has it optional? You think that was a plus or minus for them? I guess we'll ultimately have to see about the sales numbers when they come out after the Xbox starts selling without the Kinect, but we'll leave it to you. What do you think? And without further ado, I'd like to ask you guys to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. Yes, these plushy pillows are from Throwboy. These was actually a Kickstarter project that I had backed a while ago. I don't know if I showed them off, but they're really cool pillows and might use them for something else. But if you guys want these, just go look up throwboy.com for more information. But I'd like to say thank you, Throwboy, for these pillows. They're completely awesome. They've got social media pillows out the wahoozle. These got stuff for like Tumblr, emoji icons, but I personally like these pillows, which are awesome. So be sure to subscribe and like this video. We'll see you guys tomorrow.